Welcome back to the Viking Update Show. I'm Jim Souhan from TalkNorth.com and the Star Tribune. He's John Krawczynski from TalkNorth.com and The Athletic. This is our writers' football show at TalkNorth.com. We also highly recommend former Vikings general manager Jeff Diamond. Jeff Diamond's Vikings NFL Insider. And as I always say, if you like a show at the network, or we've got a ton of good shows going on right now, please subscribe to your favorite podcast app. It's free. It's the easiest way to listen. We're going to get into the Lions loss and the short week game at Los Angeles that feels a little dangerous. We're coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services Studios. I want to thank one of our newer sponsors, Natrium, as well as long-running sponsors like Crazy Fresh, True Vision Institute, and Twill. Let's get right to it here. What was your biggest takeaway from the Lions loss?
First of all, it was a great game.
What?
Like I think the Lions are the best team in the NFC. I think they're one of the best in the NFL. I picked them to win the Super Bowl on this show before the season started. I don't think that there's shame in losing a tight game to that team, even if it's at home. The one thing that stood out to me the most, Jim, was that the defense kind of got cooked for the first time all season long. And they had some moments where they came up and big and gave them some stops and things. But in general, the Lions, Jared Goff, Ben Johnson, that whole unit did things to this Vikings defense that we have not seen done to them this year. And so how they bounce back from that and how they respond to that is just going to be interesting on a short week.
It is. And I really thought they missed Blake Cashman a lot. Interior run stuffer, guy who runs sideline to sideline, guy who can cover, seems to just have a good feel for, a good intuition about where plays are going. I think that really missed him. I knew he was a good player in New York and in Houston. He's so far exceeded my expectations for what he do. I thought he'd be a good, solid player here. He's been spectacular. And man, if you give those Lions backs a little bit of a gap up the middle, they're going to take it. Those guys are impressive.
Really good. I love Jahmyr Gibbs just for his dynamic game breaking ability. But then you have Montgomery, who's like just a workhorse and makes plays. And I also do think that they certainly missed Cashman even in the passing game a little bit too, in terms of like there was just Goff was too comfortable for the most part. Mm-hmm. And even over the middle, there was a lot to work with. And so, were they humbled? I don't know. But what you did see is that for the first time all season, they did not have answers, to find. And I think Cashman's absence certainly played a role in it, but also kind of a realization that, the Lions are really, really good and they are going to be in your way the rest of the season. And so, they just have to be ready and prepared. And that game in December could be just an enormous one.
Yes. And I also thought it was fascinating that Goff has been great against pressure all year. He was fantastic against pressure on Sunday. And Flores basically, his attitude was, we're going after you. If you beat us, you beat us. And we've seen it's such an amazing change from Donatel, who just wanted to lay back and make you complete 8 passes and hope that the 8th got tipped or something. And Flores saying, I don't care who you are, what you do, and how good you are. We're coming after you. And Goff was just good enough on this day to make them pay.
He's been amazing, Jim. Like for a guy, I don't know that there have been many cases, that I can remember of a guy who was certainly painted as a limited quarterback who you have to win in spite of, and really, he's not gonna win you games at all, turning into what Jared Goff has turned into. And it wasn't even just this week; it's been most of the season that, and a lot of last year as well. I mean, the poise that he had, the accuracy, the ability to extend a play here and there. I mean, everything that you want out of a quarterback, Jared Goff was giving you in that game. And it just was every single time it seemed like the defense had the Lions offense and Goff staggered a little bit, or had them just a little off their game, or had them in a disadvantageous situation. he just dropped back, planted his back foot, fired one to Amon-Ra St. Brown or, any number of their weapons, and they move the chains. And so when Jared Goff is playing like that, and if that is something that has just clicked in with him and Ben Johnson and just this team in general, they just become the toughest out in the NFC. I just really believe that. He looks like a guy in complete command of this offense, whether he's under pressure or not. And it's super impressive to see him blossom the way that he has at this stage of his career.
Well, it's fascinating, and there could even be a future Viking development tied to all this. I covered the Patriots-Rams Super Bowl, and that was a team that Goff played well that year, but the offense was built around Todd Gurley. And when Gurley wasn't healthy enough to play in the Super Bowl, Goff could not do anything against that Patriots defense. And you could tell that was the germ that led to the Stafford-Goff trade. I mean, they knew he could get places with Goff. He didn't think he could win a championship with him. He makes the massive deal for Stafford. He wins the Super Bowl with Stafford. But the Lions end up getting all those assets and their franchise quarterback who's playing as well as anybody in the league other than maybe Lamar Jackson because of Lamar Jackson's running ability. And it's a fascinating deal. It's a great deal for both teams, but the Lions long-term are getting the better of it. And it also could lead, now I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there is this pathway to something even more fascinating happening. If Darnold went south in the next 2 weeks, I don't think he's going to. I wouldn't bet any money on it. But if Darnold went south in the next 2 weeks and the Vikings looked at it and said, oh my God, he's an old Sam Darnold now. We can't win with him right now. They'd go get Matt Stafford.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be crazy, wouldn't it? Because I've heard, we've seen some of the things on Twitter and some of the, rumors and all that stuff. And at first blush, you're like, no way, come on, no way. But it is an interesting thing to contemplate because, I thought Darnold was good on Sunday. If you had concerns that he was starting to go into a backslide and really regress, at least I didn't see that. Was he perfect? No, but I thought he did well and hung in there and did a good job. But just considering the possibility of going and getting Matt Stafford and it really does underscore where we think this team is. And that is a team that really believes that it has a lot of the pieces in place to do real damage in the playoffs. And so if they were to kind of just come to a determination of, hey, Sam Darnold's been good, he's solid, but like Goff was back in the day, not good enough to win us a Super Bowl or at least get us deep into the playoffs. Let's go get Stafford. That would be an earth-shattering type of a situation, but one that you could understand them making just given what the defense has shown you, given what Aaron Jones has shown you. You have Justin Jefferson. You can make a case for it if you can get it if you get him at a relatively cheap price. To bring him in here and really give a go at it, because I think Stafford's still playing at a high level. Put him on this offense with this play calling and these weapons, and it would be really interesting. But yeah, again, I'd still be really surprised, but it just does go to show you how the expectations have changed for this group that you're even contemplating something like that.
Yeah, and reiterate my clarification. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think Darnold. I don't think Darnold is going to fall off. So even if he doesn't play well, I think it would be a panic move, and you're only going to make that move if Darnold really looks like he can't play the position in the next 2 weeks, which I think is probably about 100-1 against that it's going to happen. All I'm saying is if that happened, if Darnold gave them reason to believe he can't play the position well enough the rest of the season, then the Stafford deal all of a sudden would make sense. Right now, it doesn't make sense, but it could. And here's the other interesting development here. If the Rams beat the Vikings on Thursday night, then the Rams are in contention as they're getting healthier. They're not trading anybody away. If the Vikings destroyed the Rams on Thursday night and the Rams are 2-5 and beat up, then again, that gives us another reason to keep an eye on things. Of course, if the Vikings destroy the Rams on Thursday night, that means Darnold probably played well enough that they wouldn't trade for a quarterback. So again, it's a 1,000,000-to-1 shot overall. It's just a really interesting thing to think about. And I'll drop it. We'll move on now.
That's the best thing about podcasting.
Yep.
Just throw it out there and let's move along.
Yep. All right. I want to get to more football stuff. Trade deadline, Reisner, Hawkinson, the short week with the Rams. First, I want to let you know that a couple of the products I'm using right now from Natrium, natrium.com. That's Natreum. I like their Goodnight Moon Sleep Gummies. I also like they also have a gummy that's just more for chilling out at night when you're just watching TV and stuff like that. But I like that too. But I specifically like the Goodnight Moon Sleep Gummies. I also like the Carpe Diem Sleep Gummies. Slightly different products. The Goodnight Moon has a little bit of THC in there. The Carpe Diem has no THC. Right now I'm using more of the no THC. It just helps me chill out when I've been up late working or I have to cover a game and I want to get sleep fairly quickly. I use that. But those are only a couple of the hundreds of products you'll find. If you go to a Natrium or a Wildflower store, you walk in, beautiful stores, an incredible array of products. And for somebody like me, I need help figuring out what applies to what I want, which is like pain relief, inflammation relief, sleep aid. Some people just like the fun stuff. But drinks, oils for your gut, balms, gummies, dips. It's amazing how many things are in there. And the good thing is when you go in there, their sales associates are so knowledgeable. They will take you tell them what you want. They'll take you there. They'll give you recommendations. They know the difference between all the different brands. So go check it out. You can also order online. That's a great, easy way to do it at natrium.com. But I recommend going to the store, checking it out. You'll be impressed. I also want to let you know that about another product I've been really enjoying lately, Crazy Fresh. Crazy Fresh, by the way, just acquired their second golden ticket winner, and there's still more tickets out there. The first winner went to Lambeau Field for the Packer-Viking game, and Crazy Fresh makes great salads that I like as full meals, like a Caesar or a Cobb or a Southwest salad, the chef salad, but they also have great stuff for football Sundays and guacamole, salsas, taco dips. They also have great fresh fruit, squeezed fresh fruit juice. They have fresh vegetables. And what I like is they arrive already cut up in snack or meal size portions. So you're not leaving you're not going to the grocery store and bringing home pounds of produce and having it rot before you ever eat it or having to chop it all up. It's just right there and make it so easy. So check out Crazy Fresh. You can find it at the grocery store, but I recommend their delivery. They bring it right to your front door. It's such an easy way to go. So this feels like a little bit of an unfair week for me. Vikings play at home against one of the most physical teams in the NFL. Then they have to fly on a short week to play at LA. The Rams got to play at home on Sunday. They stay home and play at home on Thursday. Thursday night games are tough. You'd almost like to see the NFL having sent the Rams on the road the previous week just to make it a little more balanced.
Yeah, I just I hate the Thursday games in general, but yes, when you factor that stuff in, I understand, look, their scheduling is very complicated and to really make it truly even might be next to close to impossible, but this is a bad situation for the Vikings to have to go into. You're playing on that short week, yes, on the road, out in LA, earlier time, time difference and all that stuff messes with you and messes with your body more so in a situation like this. And so I do think, even though they are the better team and certainly have shown more this season and all those things, I would fully expect Thursday night to be just a rock fight. Just, it's going to be tough. It's going to be probably sloppy. It's going to be ugly. And really, you're just trying to survive this one. And it's asking a lot. But as we've said before, the NFL doesn't care about players and their safety. They're just want any kind of product on the TV for people to watch and so they can sell ads. But this is going to be an ugly game. And the Vikings, will have to just, I think in some ways the loss on Sunday might help them sort of refocus and maybe even be a little bit more on point going into this. But yeah, it's going to be an absolute just dumpster fire of a game. That's what I'm anticipating.
Yeah. Vikings could have Hawkinson back. It looks like he's trending to play. Cooper Kupp is going to play. We don't know how much he's going to play. Nakua is now closer to getting back, although I don't expect him this week. A lot of things going on here. I'm going to ask John next, other than the weird dream or nightmare scenario of wanting or needing Matthew Stafford, what position the Vikings could best upgrade at the trading deadline at this point. But first, I want to let John tell you about True Vision Institute.
True Vision Institute, truevision.com. If you go down to their offices in Bloomington, you will find one of the most welcoming environments that you could ever hope for. I walked into there last summer to get evaluated for LASIK surgery. Was certainly interested in it, but also a little bit nervous about the process. And the people there are so warm and inviting. They are so smart and well versed in all of the options available for vision correction, that once I went through the process with them and talked about everything, I just felt really comfortable with the plan to go forward with LASIK. And then you go in, you have the LASIK surgery. It's over in a matter of minutes, literally. Dr. Chu really walks you through everything. He is a very calming presence in the operating room while you are having the surgery. And you come out on the other side of it and you see great. I have not worn contacts or glasses in the last 3 months, and it's just so freeing. I can go for a run on the treadmill. I'm not pushing glasses up on my nose while my face is sweating. I'm traveling now with the Timberwolves and not having to bring contact solution with me and worry about any of that has been very freeing and liberating. And just overall, I've gotten people that come up to me and say, hey, you look 10 years younger without the glasses. So I'm trying to look younger any way I can. And so I highly recommend going to truevision.com to set up your consultation. Go in, take a look at what True Vision can do for you. It has really changed my life, and that's not hyperbole. That is not an overstatement. It's been one of the best experiences and best decisions I've made in quite a long time. truevision.com.
I've been telling you a lot about Twill in the Edina Galleria, twillmn.com. Scott Dayton's shop. It's been there forever. It's a Minnesota staple. I buy all my clothes there. And I've told you about a lot of different aspects of why I've always bought my clothes there, even before he sponsored the program. And by the way, when I go by there, I spend my own money. I'm not getting anything free. I buy it because I love the stuff. One thing I'm really noticing right now, I've been traveling a lot lately. I'm in the middle of 3 kind of coastal trips within about a week and a half. And one thing I really notice about Twill is when I travel, the clothes, I get off the plane or I leave the hotel looking like I just had my clothes dry cleaned. And I didn't. I just was on you know what it's like being on a plane. You get all rumpled, unless you want to pull out the iron. Usually the stuff you pull out of the suitcase doesn't look all that great, except when it's Twill stuff, whether it's Brax pants. And part of it is, I used to wear the old cotton polo type shirts, and those things were always just getting bunched or frayed. They didn't last very long. I'm wearing these Peter Millar and Johnny O shirts now, and they're like golf shirts, only nicer. And they have that athletic fabric woven into them, so they just don't wrinkle. They don't get rumpled. It's for somebody like me who doesn't like to have to pull out the iron or take something to dry cleaning. It's a godsend, especially when I travel. High quality stuff, only the best brands, only brands he handpicks to put in his store. This is not a department store. It is it's an excellent men's clothing store. Check out Twill in the Edina Galleria or sign up for their email notifications of when they're going to have sales and special events at twillmn.com. All right. So other than quarterback, is there a position you want to see the Vikings upgrade at the trade deadline, or you think they need to upgrade at the trading deadline?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I mean, it's so funny that we started the season out and you're looking at a team and you're saying, man, they have questions here, they have questions there, but so many of them have been sort of answered by the way that they played. I mean, would I like to see maybe another defensive back, just in case, as insurance, maybe I would say receiver, but I like Naylor as a third receiver. I think they're in good shape there. Do you evaluate running back a little bit and see if you can upgrade the backup behind Aaron Jones a little bit? Possibly, but do you have anything that sticks out? Because I don't see a glaring weakness that they really just have to address.
Yeah, I don't either. And, you could say go get an offensive lineman. The problem with that is offensive line requires more continuity and communication
exactly.
than almost any other position. So you go get a great guard, and that guard might not play well for you for a month or with his teammates because it's complicated and it's difficult, and you miss one play up and your quarterback gets destroyed. So you can always use another defensive back. I agree with that. If you could go, if somebody like Dexter Lawrence were available, of course you'd want them. They're not going to be able to swing that kind of a deal. So realistically, I see them probably standing pat unless they just see some, I don't know, special teamer or somebody, a role player who might just be able to be a very affordable add for depth. But yeah, I agree with you on that. Do you expect Reisner to be a starter for this team either soon or this season?
Doesn't it feel weird, this whole situation?
Yes.
Like, I mean, you have a situation where, I mean, they brought him in and you thought, okay, here's an upgrade at what they have available at guard. And then there's just, ever since he's arrived, and really, especially, this season and what has gone on, it doesn't seem like player and team are on the same page. And I don't know exactly the reasons for that. But there doesn't seem to be some sort of clear-cut plan on what he's going to do, because he has his own ideas that he's expressing, and he believes he's ready, and then he's not active. And so I don't know why it is this sort of confusing to me. But something is not right in the way in this relationship. And I think that needs to be resolved before we see him on the field. And so what that is and how that goes about, I'm not sure. But there's just like, this does not seem just to be a straightforward, he's not ready to play, or our options are better, we're going this way type of a situation. There seems to be something else underneath it that is fueling, just this weird situation. Weirdness is the only way I can use to describe it.
Yeah, I agree with you. And Reisner, he's been a pretty good player in the league, and he feels like he kind of talked and demanded his way out of Denver.
Yeah.
And now he ends up here, and, they replace him with Brandel, but they realize that he has some value, so they keep him around and sign him even though they know he's injured. And then they can't, as you said, they don't seem to be on the same page on how ready he is to come in and play now. I don't know, but it'll be very interesting. Let's wrap up today's show with just a projection. And you can make a pick and pick a score if you want, or you can just talk about it in general terms. What do you expect to see on Thursday night?
I think I said at The Athletic, we make predictions with Alec Lewis and I, and I think I put like 16-9 or something like that. I do like, I'm just preparing for something like that. What we haven't talked about, and what I actually think could really factor in this game, is I think the kicking situation for both teams could loom really large. Will Reichard, I mean, I know that Vikings fans are saying, don't jinx it, but he's been unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, he has been so freaking good. And meanwhile, the Rams also drafted a rookie kicker, or signed a rookie kicker, and he's been banged up. And is kicking through some things, and so their kicking situation is not nearly as reliable right now. And so if this comes down to, are you just trying to slog through and get through with one of your kickers making 4 field goals? My money's on the Vikings and Reichard to be able to do that. So I think it's going to be close and ugly, and I think that Will the Thrill might be the difference maker in this game. I
could definitely see that. I think the Vikings are going to play well offensively, and I don't think the Rams are quite to the point where I think if the Vikings contain Williams and the running game, that this is going to be a fairly easy win for them. So I'm going to say like 26-12, something like that. I think the Vikings win this one handily. If they don't, we'll have a lot to talk about next week here on the Viking Update Show. Well, actually, we'll have a lot to talk about no matter what happens as they have their kind of mini bye and prepare for the Colts in early November. Hey, to everyone who listens to TalkNorth.com, we do appreciate it. Please subscribe. Check out all of our other shows at TalkNorth.com, including Jeff Diamond's show, Randy Shaver's high school football show. And we appreciate you listening. We'll talk to you next week.